So no double guessing where I am right now. Freezing cold New York, one of the craziest, busiest and coldest cities at the moment. It is literally freezing, 0 degrees Celsius. So what we've got up here is the launch tonight of Zwift Run. Official launch of Zwift Run by the company. It's been in beta for a long time, but they're officially acknowledging that they do support running. And let's go and have a look at what's going on. So I'm back at the hotel going through the footage of tonight's Zwift Run launch. Now what I've got coming up here, and I thought I'd jump in now and let you know what's coming up. It's the interviews they did with the presentation of the night itself with a few special guests. The audio's not that great, so here's a warning straight away. I'll put links below to the guests coming up in this video because it is quite long, or you can skip straight to the end. Again, links below in the description about who you can jump to. But what we have first up is Eric Min, the CEO of Zwift, talking about Zwift Run. We have Lionel Sanders, Ironman legend, talking about using Zwift and training indoors. Pretty funny guy. We have Angus from Stryd. Now Stryd make these little foot pod things that are very interesting, running with power, etc. Full of energy, loves his product. I spent a lot of time talking to Angus post these discussions, I guess, with the crowd. One-on-one with Angus, brilliant guy, looking forward to catching up with Stryd and diving into their technology. Running with power, is it a thing? I don't know yet, but these guys truly believe it is. So more on that soon. Angus is awesome. And John Mayfield, now he is the co-founder of Zwift, or one of the co-founders of Zwift, head honcho when it comes to programming and absolute guru of everything Zwift. He is Zwift. Zwift was his original project, so check out what John has to say as well. Again, apologies for the audio on this. I wasn't there really to record this. It has been professionally recorded. That'll be coming out soon, but just for some raw stuff, I'll include it here with links below to every person, or you can just jump to the end. All right, let's get into it.
First guest, fittingly, is one of Zwift's co-founders and a New York native, and also a lifelong endurance athlete, Eric Min. And Eric's just going to make a few remarks, and then we'll do a few questions with him.
Thanks, Mark. I want to first apologize for some of the outages we've had. I don't think this room was configured for all this power that we needed tonight. But I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I think it was about 3 years ago. We came to New York City to introduce Zwift to the cycling community and to the media. The concept was actually pretty simple, but very revolutionary. A notion of bringing people together to in the same space, the passionate cyclists that we all are, was a very new concept. And creating shared experiences and finding the motivation to train together was something really exciting for us. And we knew this was something very big. Some people did have doubts about the scale of the business, but I can tell you that we've had over 500,000 people, 500,000 people try Zwift. And just in January, we were doing about 1 million miles a day, users from 191 different countries. And so we're actually a very, very global product. The indoor cycling for me has been an experience, a mind-numbing experience. And I think we've changed that to be something very interactive, something very addictive, and yet it's a very, very healthy activity. So gamification of fitness and the power of the community, the key ingredients that make Zwift what it is today. Cycling can now be easily integrated into our daily lives. I'm no longer stressed about when to do my workout. I can do it anytime. I can do it 24/7 and find a community to ride with. That's changed the way I train. And I think to be able to do that with a global community, all becoming fitter, stronger, and more motivated than ever before. Now we're back here, but this time to introduce something new. It's running, and in a similar fashion, we will make Zwift Run free for many months. We need the product to evolve. I think it's great already, but we want to grow the community. We want to create more content. And this time, we're pursuing a much broader market. We think that we have an opportunity to create, one of the biggest and most connected indoor training platform for runners. So whether you're a gym goer, a cyclist, a runner, a triathlete, anyone can train and compete for the global community. We believe Zwift will become the largest interactive digital destination for fitness enthusiasts. We're targeting a very big market, and we want inactive individuals to achieve their first 5K run, or help someone like myself to train and have a better experience when I do run outdoors, or someone like Lionel. We hope we can help him to win the World Championships Ironman in Kona. So please take the time to try Zwift, either on the bike or on the treadmill. We'd love to get your feedback, and we're here to answer any of your questions. And I just want to say that our mission is really to convince more people to be more active more often. And if we fulfill that mission, I think we will build an incredible business. We will, I think, enrich the lives of many, and in many ways we've already begun that journey. So thank you very much.
So having been around this from the beginning, Eric, maybe you could tell everybody, how big do you think this audience is, and how do you think that the running audience is going to differ from what we've seen in cycling?
So I'm not a runner. From a product perspective, I think running, the product as it is today is already very, very motivating for me. I did a 10K run yesterday, 10K run today. I think without Zwift, it would be very difficult for me to do that. But in terms of the size of the market, we did a little bit of research, and in the U.S. alone, there are I think about 1 million treadmills sold into the homes, and globally it's about 2 million. So if we look at the size of the running market relative to the cycling market that we're targeting today, it's about 8 times the size. To be able to just jump on a treadmill with minimal devices. In many cases, I think in the future, you literally would just take your iPad or an Android tablet to a gym, or a treadmill in the home, and just go. The friction is fairly low. So we're really, really bullish about the opportunity, but I think it's a little bit too early to say. And this is part of why we want to make it free. We need to learn from the community, find out what they want from the experience. And I think by the next 10 months or so, we'll know how big this opportunity could be for us and the community.
All right, that's great. Thanks. So we're going to have a couple more people we want to point out, just some quick questions. We're super fortunate tonight. We've got a really incredible athlete in our presence. Second place finisher on Ironman last year. Second fastest Ironman ever. Canadian Lionel Sanders. Lionel, if you mind coming up for a second. So Lionel's known for rigorous training indoors. We were talking about that earlier, just about preparing for the heat about Zwift? Why is Zwift attracting so many people? What is it that you find compelling about it?
I mean, first I should probably give my story about how I even got into indoor training in the first place, because I rode for 4 years outside and got hit by cars 4 times, one of which I woke up strapped to the board in the back of an ambulance, couldn't remember who I was, and these are false front teeth, in case you're wondering, because they were knocked out, and that scared the crap out of me, and quite frankly, I don't think there's any safe road that has cars on it, so that was how I got into indoor training in the first place, and this was many years ago now. And I mean, people in the beginning said, "Oh, you're never going to be able to ride well doing all indoor training and all this sort of thing." And I went about continuing to train indoors, and I mean, I turned myself into a pretty good cyclist, I think. And so I actually, I came to find that training indoors was better than training outdoors. And now I have absolutely no desire to ride outdoors anymore. Actually, I shouldn't say outdoors, because I do bring my stationary trainer out on the back porch. It's nice outside in the summertime, but I live in Canada. We don't have many nice days, actually. But in terms of Zwift, when I found Zwift, actually, it was last year after Kona. Richard said, "Hey, have you been on Zwift yet? Like, you do all your training indoors. It makes perfect sense." And I actually hadn't been on. I had heard of it. I just hadn't, I guess, had the stimulus to get onto it. And then I tried it out, and I was instantaneously hooked. And that was about actually December of last year. And I just cleared 10,000 kilometers today. So in a year's time, 10,000 electronic kilometers. And I'd say I'm a significantly better biker because of it. And I don't even know if I'm answering your question. I don't even remember what your question was, but that's something to do about indoor training.
Well, with the introduction of Zwift Running, so you've done all your kilometers, or most of them in cycling. Do you think Zwift Running is equally as compelling, and do you think that they're going to attract an audience around running that is as big or bigger than cycling? What are your thoughts about running versus cycling on Zwift?
If you're going to ride your bike on a stationary trainer, you should be on Zwift. And if you're going to run on a treadmill, you should be on Zwift, because it improves the quality of both of those activities significantly. I mean, the biking is probably a little further along than the running currently is, and so how I use the biking, just the camaraderie, for instance, of doing even just my easy rides, and I'll have, by the end of the ride, I'll be riding with 5 or 10 people in a group. I mean, there's that piece of the puzzle. And then there's just like, it keeps you honest. You know that everyone can see you. You're in a public setting now. You're not just in your basement riding. And it keeps you honest, and it is really motivating. And then today, for instance, for my threshold bike workout, I just hopped into a couple of races actually, and I did far better quality just due to the guys around me pushing me than I would have had I trained by myself in the hotel room. So that's what the running, or rather the biking, currently does for me. And now as well with the introduction of the workouts, the pre-programmed workouts, I haven't really used them too much, but I mean, I'll start to tinker with that sort of thing. So there's all that. And then the running, I mean, that's where we'll go with the running. And as we get more people, I'll be hopping in to do my VO2 max workout with 4 other guys, and we'll do 255 Ks at VO2 max kind of stuff. And I mean, it's great when you don't have training partners in particular. It's really, really motivating. You can find guys, because you can connect with anyone in the world. It's really great. I mean, there's really no negatives about it. Everyone should be on it. So.
With your finish at Kona last year, I gotta imagine you're going to go back and try to improve in the only way you can, which is to win. What are you doing to better prepare this year? What do you think could be a key to success this year, whether it has to do with it or not? What was your focus?
I mean, I think that's one of the big things. I basically, it was my life dream to win that race, and I was leading the race from mile 2 to mile 25, or mile 23. So 21 miles. And I mean, it hurts to lose out on your life dream with 15 minutes to go. So I guess the tendency is to want to like tear everything apart. But in the end, I only lost by 2 minutes and 27 seconds over an 8-hour event. That's half a percentage. So it actually would be quite ridiculous to tear everything apart. Obviously, most things were correct. So I won't really change too much. There actually were a lot of errors in both my training and in the race in particular that I will just improve upon. For instance, 40% of the liquid that I consumed was pure water. And I mean, that's dangerous actually to not replace the electrolytes for that volume of water. And I didn't really realize that until mile 12 on the run when my quads and hamstrings are starting to lose function and I'm starting to drag my top of my right foot on the ground because I can't really get my leg up over the ground anymore. So, I mean, that's one piece of the puzzle. Another piece of the puzzle, big mistake I made that I'll correct. I was riding the rollers actually for basically the year leading into the race, all on Zwift too, which is in itself quite an interesting task. But I found riding the rollers because it's quite dangerous when you start pushing big power down in the time trial position on the rollers. Anyways, I found myself refraining from riding in the time trial position. And I did very little training in the time trial position leading into the race. And you can get away with it in 70.3. But efficiency is king in the Ironman, and that definitely negatively impacted my run, especially on the second half as my glutes and hamstrings started to lock up. So I'll definitely be doing a lot more time trial riding. In terms of how I'm using Zwift throughout the year, same as I just said, I'm going to be doing a lot of the races. I'm going to be incorporating the workouts. Actually, I did a workout. I led a workout, which I thought was fantastic. A great thing for coaches, for instance, the whole market in itself there to use the software for coaching groups. I think I had about 300 people come on a ride with me. And it was the best VO2 max workout I've ever done. Quite frankly, I wrote the workout, but because I had 300 people there keeping me honest, it's the best VO2 workout I did. So I'll probably do a lot more of that kind of stuff too. So yeah, sky's the limit.
That's awesome. Well, good luck next year. I know we're all rooting for you. And thanks for coming to the event. Totally appreciate it. Good. Woo! And the foot pod is sort of the gateway technology. With running, the audience, we believe, is much bigger than cycling. And we want to make it as simple as possible for runners to get involved and to be able to use Zwift. And the foot pod is a key part of that. So we have one of the co-founders of a company called Stryd, which is a leading fitness technology company, Angus Nelson. Angus is here from Boulder. And basically, one of the things that we're really interested in knowing about is what is important about a foot pod, how does it work, and why does it make Zwift better?
Motion. Motion is the fingerprint of human physical health. This is Stryd, and this device is extremely precise. And this enables Zwift to be great. When you do a virtual race or a group ride with Zwift, it's like you're really there against your competitors. Because when you start moving, Stryd detects that instantly, and it instantly moves your avatar. And this has an added benefit: no calibration. So any shoe, any speed, or any treadmill you run on, Stryd is accurate, and it works immediately. A plus of this is that we made Stryd beautiful and we gave it a huge battery life. So you never want to take it off. It is always on your shoe and it's ready to go. We believe that Stryd and Zwift is the next wave of running. Join us. Let's power the next wave of running together.
All right, Angus, thank you very much. We appreciate that. I knew it was working. I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to do that. So finally, we've got another co-founder of Zwift, John Mayfield. John has been around Zwift since before it was Zwift and before anybody else had a vision for it. John was a video game coder, is that right? Sure. Yeah. And John made the first, not even a beta version of Zwift and posted it on a forum that allowed Eric to connect with him. So John is really the driving force behind the game. Zwift, and he's got all the ideas of what Zwift can be in his head. And the running that we're introducing tonight is a beta version, so it's a free version. Eric pointed that out. And eventually we want to get to the point that there's enough value there that we can charge. And we're going to be adding features throughout the year. And John, I think, is the great person to just give us a little commentary on what we might expect to see in the future with running that you're not seeing tonight.
Yeah, I definitely need the mic. So I don't think we've actually covered what we're launching today, but we actually have a pretty decent set of features. Much like what we did with cycling, we're launching in early access, but unlike cycling, we've got structured training modes, we've got group events. You saw one kick off here a few minutes ago. There's 30, 40 people that showed up, all running together, all around the world. There's flags from every country here participating in this event. And there's like a camaraderie that forms. And also, you're a little bit accountable to the groups that you join in every week. So it's getting you off the couch. You know those guys are waiting for you to show up to your event that you signed up for. So there's actually, a pretty decent suite of features that we're launching with, but this year we'll have a bunch more actually. One of the key things that I feel like even more so than with cycling is with running, training plans are very important. It feels like a lot of people's journey into running starts with signing up for a half marathon or a 10K. And then they go, they sign up and then like, now what, right? They gotta go Google for a training plan or find a coach or find a running group. So we want that journey through Zwift to be, more seamless. And we've got, very soon we'll be launching flexible training plans. There's not a calendar involved. It's more of a flexible timeline. So if you miss a Monday and a Tuesday, don't sweat it, right? We're gonna readjust things. You can do things in your order anytime you need. And we'll get you to your race day with accounting for, whatever life throws your way. So that'll be coming not only for the running, but also for cycling. So there'll be multiple sports. Most features we'll be adding are going to actually be for cyclists and runners. We're just sort of folding them into the product development mix. We'll also be improving our group runs. So many of them are actually led by a human ride leader. He'll be chatting with people, setting the pace, keeping the groups together. A lot of the events, though, we don't have a human leader that shows up, or the system can just kick off and set the paces. We'll be adding elements from the video game world to have, kind of smart AI pacers that can keep the group together, encourage the runners throughout the run, set off sprints so that people can have sort of a fun experience. So that'll be coming next, and eventually that too will probably make it to cycling, but the smart pacer bots will be running it first. And then, of course, finally we'll be adding a bunch of new roads as well for multiple sports, but for running we'll actually start adding some trails into our worlds, roads specifically for the runners, to speak to the trail runners and just give them their own areas to explore. So I think with all that coming this year, it's going to be a pretty compelling product, and it's free. So why not give it a try?
I do have one final question. So being in riding Zwift on a bike as running was getting developed, once in a while, I don't know how long ago, last year, we would see a runner pop up. And it was clear that you were working on it and were kind of iterating as you went. What I'm really wondering is, what was the biggest challenge in getting running to work in Zwift? What was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome?
I think the biggest hurdle at the time was getting the devices connected. There wasn't a lot of smart running devices out there, and now with the likes of Stryd, Technogym, treadmills, and a few other manufacturers coming to the table, even an Apple Watch will get you into Zwift now with run pace and heart rate. I think the devices is really what's enabling it. So it's kind of a synergy of multiple things coming together and letting us do this. And we fortunately had already built all the tech we needed for the game experience. So just adding in more avatars and connecting the new tech that was coming available was a pretty easy choice. And it actually all stems from me getting a treadmill and doing a run on it, and it didn't show up on Strava, right? It doesn't show up on Strava, it doesn't count, So I wanted the Zwift Run to show up with a nice map and everything, and a week later, I had running in the cycling platform, and it was all solid. And I started getting those kudos. I was like, all right, this is the thing.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you much, John. And thanks everybody for coming out. We really appreciate it. Make sure if you haven't checked out Zwift Running up close, take a look. And Eric's going to say that.
I also want to thank Isabel, the Technogen, for providing us with the beautiful equipment here. Behind the scenes, their team actually worked very hard to make their treadmill compatible with Zwift. So thank you very much.
Everybody, thanks for coming out. Take a look at Zwift. Make sure you sign up for Zwift Running and get on soon.
Yes, exactly. Usually think of it as movement, yes, physical, but also as mental. Exactly.
Well, no, so this is like this book.
It's fundamentally changed like my mental set when I go into the gym. Yeah, we're good.
Good? Hi, my name is Eric Min. I'm CEO, co-founder of Zwift, and I just want to thank you for joining us tonight. And I'd like for all of you guys to join Lionel and Zwift.
See you out there. Hey, no, yeah.
Hey man, I don't know if there's much of a market for it, but I'm in for it.
Okay. We're good. Which camera did we go with? Yours or mine?
Which one are we going to look at?
I think
we should look at my camera.
I'll use this footage for mine, and then I'll cut everyone over to Simon's stuff as well. I'll link below to Simon's coverage of this. Simon's got some good interviews. Simon, you've had some good interviews tonight?
Yeah, one or two.
It's very loud in there, so
very loud.
We'll leave it there for mine. We'll cut it over to Simon's. So for the rest of this little chat, it's over on Simon's channel.
We'll share memory cards, Shane.
We will. So there we have it, Zwift Run launch here in New York. It was a massive night, some great talent there on the treadmills and on the mics. I've lost my voice already, so time to get back and get out of here. We'll see you back home in Australia soon.